Little Mermaid by Liz Doolittle. Once there was a princess who lived in the sea, a mermaid who was beautiful as could be. Sirenetta was the youngest daughter of the king, and the kingdom just loved to hear her sing. As she was swimming and playing in the deep, the sea gave a mighty, mighty sweep. A storm had brewed, and a ship was going down, and she saw a man that was about to drown. She swam toward him and brought him ashore. She had never touched a human before. When she wanted him to open his eyes, Sirenetta heard other people's cries. So she swam back for the kingdom in the sea. To fall in love with a human was not to be. She saved a prince and she did not know, and she wanted to be with him so. She decided she wanted to live on land, so she needed the sea witch's helping hand. Now the sea witch was cruel and vain, and gave a spell that would cause her pain. The sea witch made her human whole, but her legs would hurt her with every stroll. Sirenetta also lost her beautiful voice, but to be with the prince was her choice. The magic of the witch she was found. The prince saw her lying on the ground. He asked her for her name, but she couldn't speak. Still she looked lovely and very meek. The prince took her in and became his friend. Sirenetta thought it was going to be a happy end. Now the prince's family threw a party so grand, never before seen in the land. He had fallen in love with a lady quite fair, forgetting that Sirenetta was there. They were to be married very soon as there was a full moon. But with the magic came a curse. Sirenetta's fate had become worse. If she did not get the prince's heart, from this world she would then part. She would be turned into foam, never to return to her undersea home. Sirenetta cried out to the dark sea, wishing to be loved or that she could flee. Then her sister swam up with a magical knife. To save herself she must take the prince's life. Kill him tonight, her sister said, because we do not want you dead. Sirenetta could be a mermaid once more, and live untroubled just like before. So on the night she went to his room, carrying a knife that meant his doom. But she could not kill him, not at all. She'd rather take the curse and fall. So Sirenetta was ready to die for love, but then she floated to the skies above. What was happening? She wondered so. The fairies surrounding her would know. What you did was selfless and true. The curse was lifted because of you. She said farewell to her family from sea to sky. She was now free. Those she loved she could watch up high, as she was now a princess in the sky. The moral of the story is there are times when you make bad decisions, but it does not mean you can't correct them anymore. Sirenetta realized that even if she couldn't be okay with the prince, she could still be happy and look over the other people she loved too. She was willing to make sacrifices to right a wrong. Little Red Riding Hood by Liz Doolittle. Once there lived a child so pretty, she was also sweet and witty. Her mother made a cape so red, along with a hood to fit on her head. Little Red's mom made some fresh bread. Go take these to your ill granny, she said. Little Red's granny lived a few miles down, near an old mill at the edge of town. A wolf came by as she continued to walk. She didn't know it was dangerous to talk. The wolf seemed friendly and nice. She didn't see the evil in his eyes. Where are you off to, little child? Why are you alone in the wild? You walk through this path alone, with vines and bushes overgrown. Oh, I'm off to see my granny who is sick. I took this path because it's quick. I have fresh bread for her to eat. It's still a bit hot and just a bit sweet. The wolf was hungry, hungry for days, and he had his wicked ways. He said farewell and raced for the place. To eat a child, he had lots of space. The wolf saw that Granny wasn't there, and it was time to lay his plans bare. Red came knocking on the door. Granny, are you better than before? Come in, child. Granny misses you so. Come closer, for I can't stand, you know. Granny, why you sound hoarse? I'm still feeling ill, of course. I've brought you something to eat. This will be a good treat. Mother baked some bread just for you, to help you cope with your flu. The bad wolf had worn Granny's dress. Could Little Red Riding Hood have a guess? Red inched closer for a better look. and one glance was all it took. Granny, what big ears you've got. How could it have changed a lot? All the better to hear you, Red. Now come closer to my bed. Granny, how big your eyes are too. Red's curiosity grew and grew. All the better to see you, Red. Now come closer so I can kiss your head. But Granny, your arms are big, and your hair looks like a funny wig. So changed and sharp are your teeth, it feels like you're different underneath. And so you're right, little Red. The wolf then sprang from the bed. Red gasped and tried to run. She looked for help, but there was none. A hunter came with a large knife, just in time to save Red's life. He grabbed the wolf before it could bite, and cut off its head with all his might. The wicked wolf was now dead, and in town the word had spread. Red was the safest she could be, and with kisses from Mother and Granny. The end. The moral of the story is don't trust strangers right away. While not everyone will have bad intentions, it is best to stay safe and be with people you know best. Hansel and Gretel by Liz Doolittle. In a hut in the woods lived a girl and boy. Little did they know their mother had a ploy. The boy was named Hansel and the girl was Gretel. They had nothing to drink but water from a kettle. One day their mother told them to gather wood, just like little boys and girls should. They did not know their mother wanted them lost, whether deep in the forest or in a night's frost. They followed their father out that day. It was cold but sunny for the month of May. In their pockets they had bits of bread to eat, as bread was such a big treat. They gathered wood in a forest so deep, it scared Gretel so, and she began to weep. Suddenly they noticed their father was gone, the warmth was fading, and so was the sun. They were lost and very alone, and the wind chilled them to the bone. But then there was a wonderful smell. It smelled of food, one could tell. They followed the scent with their little noses, past creepy trees and wild roses. Hansel and Gretel saw a house at the end, made out of sweets, what a wonderful blend. They ate from walls made of cake and sugar toast. Hansel stuffed his mouth the most. Suddenly an old woman came into view. She crooned, "Who are you? Are you so hungry that you eat my house, nibbling at my walls like a mouse? Oh, you two look so thin. Come in my house, come in." Hansel and Gretel followed the hag inside. She asked, "What else have you tried? Do you want to try the cupcakes and the muffins too? Have some cookies with icing red and blue." There was a large cauldron and oven for baking. Delicious little children were in the making. All of a sudden Hansel found himself in a bag, and he cried, "Let me out of here, you hag!" Gretel did what the witch asked her to do. She cleaned and fed her brother a lot too. The witch wanted to eat them fat. She was going to put Hansel first in the sugary vat. She was ready to cook Hansel that day, and turn him into little cookies on a tray. For Hansel this was very dire. When suddenly Gretel pushed the hag into the fire. Gretel locked the oven real tight, and the witch screamed with all her might. Hansel and Gretel were finally free, away from the witch's baking and sorcery. They found their way back to their home. A whole night did they roam. Their father was filled with joy. Safe was his little girl and his little boy. The townspeople knew of the story, and how the witch's end was gory. Heroes they returned to be. The whole town was afraid of the witch, you see. Now they were a family once more, taking care of each other better than before. Hansel and Gretel would never starve again. Gone forever was the witch's reign. The end. The moral of the story are, there are times when you're called to be brave, and there are times when you'll need help, and that help won't come from mom or dad or the people you know. You don't have to worry about all strangers. Some will be good and some will be bad. Strangers will come in all forms of people. Don't forget that when you're being brave, you also have to decide if the person trying to help you is someone truly nice and trustworthy. If you liked the story, give it a thumbs up below, and if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.